90 minutes of your time to be on this session. That itself, it's a great thing. Just pat on your back. So I'll ensure that your 90 minutes is well spent. I'll try my best, okay, to do that, to do justice for the 90 minutes you're about to spend with us. So, few folks maybe new to this session, as in some might have not attended the session one, and some are coming again to continue what we did learn in the first session, and then take the stick to the next level. So what I'll do is, for the first few minutes we'll talk about, or we'll recap what we discussed in the session one. Yeah. Then we'll talk about few additional concepts that you should be focusing more on when it comes to the certification point of view. Yeah. So in that way, I believe you will be able to connect the previous session and the session that's going to happen today, all the concepts that we're going to learn, and then way forward. Okay. So with that, let me start sharing my screen. Right. Perfect. So day two. Thanks once again. Let's get started without wasting any further moment. So this is what we're going to do it. So today, of course, there is a recap followed by we will be talking about the trust layer, one important concept. We also do a demo. So we will do multiple demos, so that you'll get a feel how it is really working in the Salesforce ecosystem. Yeah. Then we'll talk about what is in it for the developers. Yeah. So how do we use the agent force to increase the productivity of our developers? Then we'll talk about agents. We'll start with internal agents. First, we'll talk about what agents are, and what does internal agent mean, all such things. We'll do few demos. We'll customize the agents. Everything we'll do it today. And so that is once we have this understanding in the subsequent session, which is the next week, we will talk more about some complex use cases. Okay, mid to complex use cases that you can try with agents. Okay, and then we'll talk about any limits or constraints that you should be aware of, followed by questions. Yeah, so this is the plan for today. With that, the first thing, so things to remember from our previous session. So if you remember, we started with talking about how AI is changing everything, right? The way we use a particular system, the way we think, the way we execute a particular task, everything is it's changing these days, isn't it? With the Gen AI around, right? So so we did discuss about it, and then we talked about why we need to learn Agent Force, correct? Yeah. One thing is very sure, because you wanted to stay updated, or stay up to date in the Salesforce ecosystem. If you want to do that, then certainly the knowledge about AI and Agent Force is certainly needed. Yeah. So this is the right time for us to get ourselves upskilled, right, with the Agent Force. And adding to that, there is a free certification also available, which we can take before December 2025. So use this time to learn Agent Force, apply it, talk to your customer, and then see if there are specific use cases that can be solved using AI, and also get certified to prove your credentials. Yeah. So everything can happen, this year together. So that's the reason we are at the critical juncture where you have to learn and then apply plus get certified. You can do everything together this year, right? So we are trying to enable that path, and that's the reason we are doing this three-part series. So first thing you should remember is about the permission set, because when you come to Salesforce Agent Force, so once you get this Agent Force enabled, of course you wanted to make the users to start using it, right? So remember, we talked about prompt builder, right? And prompt template is what we did. Try in the last session. So uh, so learn about the permission set that you need to use to provide access to your customer. Yeah. So there will be questions around this. That's the important thing. And what else we did? So we did also talk about the prompt templates, isn't it? So reusable prompts. I create one prompt, and then I can able to reuse that prompt across multiple records, etc. Like case summary or account summary. I'll show you a few more examples today. Yeah. So you need to learn about the different prompt types, because Salesforce is making our life easy. So we don't have to create some generic prompt. Instead, we can be very specific about why am I going to create this prompt? What is the purpose? Am I going to use this AI to generate some content for a field? or use AI for creating an email, yeah, or I wanted to query something, in my art, which is in an unstructured format in a PDF, as a policy or a warranty document or an image. So I want to use AI to, to get to read that unstructured data and then bring the information to me. So such things, so such things are classified as prompt templates, right? And you will be choosing a particular prompt template based on, your business scenario. Yeah. So the knowledge about which prompt type can be appropriately used, for a given scenario is important. So that knowledge will be tested when you apply for the certification. And then uh, three important things that we should remember always, not just in Salesforce, not just Salesforce, but generally, right? When you deal with AI, so think of AI as a kid. When you explain or when you give a task to a kid, or when you explain or when you wanted to give a task to an intern in your team, you'll be as detailed as possible, isn't it? So that's exactly what we will do. And the term that we use is prompting. Yeah, and you have to be as detailed as possible when you do the instructions to the AI. All such things we discussed. Data grounding, using the right LLM. So remember this three. Yeah, this is what we built the last session, right? This is the prompt, the reusable prompt that we have created. And when you create a prompt, you will supply Salesforce data will supply Salesforce data because the LLM does not know or does not have any clue about the customer data, isn't it? But for the AI, the LLM to work and then give you precise or close to the accurate result, you need to provide as much information as possible along with the data. Yeah, the fine-tuned data, which is something called data cloud, data grounding. So that's the second thing. Then Salesforce also gives you an option to choose your own LLM. Yeah. So we did see there are players, there are multiple players in the market, but not the list is not big, correct? So hardly 30, 25 to 30 LLM providers in the market today. So we have, of course, big players are there. Microsoft, we have Google, we have OpenAI, Anthropic. So big players are there in the market. So what Salesforce has done is it is giving you an option. This one, yeah, it's giving an option to choose the LLM, correct? So these are things we did discuss. Other than that, there is a checklist of items that we always ask when we build a prompt template because we wanted to ensure that the prompt works. The results are close to the accuracy, correct? So that purely depends on your prompting. Okay, but don't worry. When it comes to prompting, it's so easy. We have to use plain simple English and then tell exactly what needs to be done. That's it. Okay, with some examples. We talked about a framework as well, isn't it? ICE-Stop. So so this is the checklist that you will keep in mind whenever you deal with an AI. Again, this is not just for Salesforce. Whenever you deal with other AI models outside Salesforce, right? So this will certainly help you. Yeah. So we talked about that. And towards the end, I briefly touched based on multimodal AI. So remember this concept because these days the AI, it's not just helping you with the text. If you want to generate a video, of course you can do it. If you want to generate an image, it is possible. So this multimodal AI concept, right? It kind of helps you to read unstructured data. Number one. Number two, it has the capability to uh, understand the images. Okay, so that's this multimodal AI. Is good at. Okay, if you have an image, it is able to read the content in an image. Yeah, and then it can able to bring that text out of it. For example, if you upload a receipt. Okay, yeah. Let's say you're using this AI in a travel and expense portal or travel and expense app. So where people will simply take the Uber receipt or a Ola receipt or the ticket receipt, right? So can I use AI to read that image and then get the amount from it? Of course, I can do that. Okay. So these days, of course, the AI has that capability, not just the text. So that's why it's called multimodal AI. So we did see this one one uses in one business scenario, right, where I can use this multimodal AI capability and then generate a product description. So if you remember, this is what we did. Just give me a minute. This is the one. I had a product called Women T-shirt collar. So basically, I wanted to take help from AI to build this description. For example, let's say this description is not available for now. Okay. I'll show you how this is implemented. Maybe for last time, I think the last session, we just stopped right here, I believe. Yeah. So I'll remove this. Okay. So now this is for an e-commerce customer where we have the product information included, plus the product image is also, added. You can just see this, right? Women t-shirt. So this is the one. So I wanted to build a nice product description that I can put, I can able to, I can use it in my e-commerce portal. Okay. So can I use AI in this, especially the agent force here, right? Of course, you can use it. So let's see the output first, then we'll just see. So let me just go right here. So okay, let's go to edit. I'm going to generate the description. So this is an AI enabled field. Yeah. So let's click on this. It's gonna make a call to this agent force. Behind the scenes, it is actually going to call a prompt template. I'll show you. And yes. So as you can just see, it was able to read the content that is printed in the t-shirt, isn't it? Believe in yourself. So the thing is, the AI was able to read the image, correct? Understand understand the content that's there in the image, and using which it just came up with this nice with this nice title and this. I can use it as is, yeah, right here, or I want to add more creativity. Of course, I can do that. Okay, so we can just take it forward. But the point is, AI is helping you, correct? Yeah, not from start. We don't have to start from zero. That's the most important thing. Yeah, two key takeaways. You don't have to start from zero. Number one. Number two. So it has capability to read images as well. Yeah. So we talked about this. How did we implement? I'll show you very quickly. But this is something that's possible today. AI-driven product description. So the usage is plenty. When you think about it, so you can use it in multiple places wherever periods are involved, wherever images are involved. Yeah, we talked about one scenario where imagine that it's an insurance customer where you are requesting the customers to load their documents like PAN card, Aadhaar card, passport, etc. And you want to validate that information in the image as against the actual information stored in the database. I can use this. I can use AI, the agent force to read that image, get the content extracted, have this compared against the actual data stored in the database, and then validate and see whether this is matching or not. Yeah. So something that's currently done only through manual can be automated using this. Yeah. So that's a good thing, right? Not only this, um, of course, this is what we will learn. This is another use case that is also related to the multimodal or the image validation. So imagine that you upload an image again for an e-commerce customer. You upload an image, and then you wanted to validate that image against the product description. Okay. So this is also possible with this AI, with this agent force, especially the prompt template. Yeah. So I'll show you how it is implemented. Okay, this is the one, right? White collar t-shirt. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go right here. I look for the prompt builder. All right, this is the one. Generate a product description. And remember which template type is suitable for this field generation. Why did I choose field generation for this one? Because this is actually helping me to generate content for field. Correct? So whenever you hit a scenario where you wanted to build a content for a field, with iShut, go with this, field generation template. That's it. Okay, let's get in to this prompt template. Let it load. Yeah. So what you have here is this is the prompt. Yeah. So remember that framework. You have to be as detailed as possible, eyes to top, or in simple, you have to set the role, give a role to the AI, the LLM, and then explain the task and the desired output. Right. So I'm giving a role as content creator. Right. Where I'm just telling that you are good at creating a very compelling description for a product or for a given image rather, or with the information provided, as simple as that. Because this is the information that we included, as you can just see. I believe, from the last session, we talked about how you can able to bring the actual, you can sub, where you can have the placeholder. We call it data grounding, correct, technically. But basically, we wanted to use the the product or the relevant information needed for the LLM to give you the desired output, right? So I'm just supplying the product name, family, everything. And this is the one that helps you to, send the related images that were included in the record. Okay. Yeah. This is also new to us. This is not new to us because in the last session, if you remember, we talked about how we can able to so easily bring the related data. When I create a prompt template against an account, I can bring so easily the related contacts, opportunities, cases, etc. Just one simple line would be sufficient, isn't it? Yeah, that's exactly what I have done. And then what you can see is, right, I'm setting the guardrails because this is an LLM which is generative in nature. This is Gen AI, right? It will give you some output, whether it is relevant or not, it doesn't matter. It will give you something unless you set the boundary. It will be, it will become so creative. You will not see the desired output. Okay, so these instructions will certainly help you to limit or set the boundary for the LLM. Don't go anything beyond and then use your imagination and then build something new. No, I want you to just stick to the name, family, and all the data that I shared with you, and then come up with a compelling description. So that's all it is. Okay. Yeah. So so do I say that this is the best prompt? No, not at all. I would say that this is a good prompt. Okay, just good prompt. It's not better. It's not best. So best would be with so many examples how the LLM should stay in the boundary, and then what kind of if I provide some examples, right, then LLM will give you much more compelling description. Okay, but anyways, for a beginner, this should be good enough, and this is what I have done. And on the left we have the model, right? Yeah, one thing to remember about this multi-model thing, not every LLM out there are good at every model is uh, good at reading images. Okay, so what I'm using is something from Google Gemini 2.0 Flash, and you have my other models as well. One thing, whenever you get into a scenario where you need to deal with unstructured data, especially images, right? Then uh, look at the model limitations. Okay, just see what kind of input it supports. Of course, all the models supports text. Yeah, no doubt about it. But there are only few models that are good at reading PDF, that are good at reading images. Okay, I can and then I just run this. It will simply work. Switch to some other. Let's say I switch to the old one. Yeah, you can just see this. If I use this model, then I will not get the desired result because this model does not have the capability to read text. Okay, so remember that. So you will also be tested against this because think about it. When you start implementing this as an AI specialist, you should know, you should help your customer to understand, right? Hey, I'm going to use this model, this LLM model, because this model is good at parsing the text and then giving the response, and this model is good at uh, parsing PDFs, text, etc., or images, etc. So look at this, the limitations. Okay, so in the next week I'll talk about this token limit, which is very important when it comes to the licensing. Okay, how do we get charged for using this agent force? It's everything based on the tokens. We'll talk about it. Okay, it's not user-based license. There is one I think Salesforce recently introduced. But anyways, it is important to know about the tokens, the importance of tokens, how the costing works in LLM, because that knowledge will also help you to work outside of Salesforce. Okay, so that's the reason. We'll talk about it. But the key takeaway is the model limitations. That's important. Okay, yeah, so that's important. So this is how this particular yeah is implemented. Okay. So one thing about uh, integrating this product template right back in the page. One thing you should remember is, so just like that, you cannot turn a normal field into an A. We cannot do that. Okay. Yeah. So once the prompt template is ready, it's ready, right? It's activated. Then to bring this to the field generation template, to bring this to the record page, what we need to do is we need to change this entire record page layout into a dynamic form. Okay, so that is the first thing we do. So which is also fairly simple. It's not going to, it's not going to be a complex task, isn't it? Yeah. So we need to edit the page, pick up the detail component, let it load first. Yeah, pick up the component. Of course, it is now upgraded. Okay, so otherwise, once you choose this tab, what happens is on the right, you will see an option to upgrade your page layout to dynamic forms. It's going to simply, uh, categorize all the fields into different sections, which you can able to make some tweaks. The reason is right. Once it is done, once you have converted this into a dynamic form, you will able to control each and every field, the visibility, you know so it's possible only if you convert that into a dynamic form. Otherwise, it's not possible, and that's the reason because I don't want all other all other fields, to be to become an AI enabled field. Only the only in a few fields or only certain fields, right? So that's the reason dynamic forms is important. So I'll choose the field, whichever field that I wanted to use the prompt template and generate the content. So choose that, and on the right, you will just see a new option called Einstein Generative AI. So which helps you to pick up the prompt template, that we created, okay, to be created right here. So this is the one generated product description. Just map this. That's it. Once you are done, you will see the small orange icon. That's it. You are done. After which, save the page. Restore and should be fine. Restore should be fine. After which, what happens is when you edit, you will just start seeing this button. Okay, this tells you that this is no longer a simple field but an AI generated field. Okay, that's the whole thing. Okay, so this is applicable only if you use a field generation prompt template. Okay, and in the previous session I believe we did use a prompt template in the flow, yeah, to generate some content, etc. Okay. So this is something that you should remember. Okay, yeah. um Perfect. And finally, we talked about the limits and constraints. You will be tested against, these limits and constraints. Okay. So how many max characters that it can support, the prompt that supports, how many merge fields that you can use. For example, in this case, how many fields that I have used? One, name is one, family is two, gender three, this is four fields, correct? So just like that, I can go up to 50. That's it. That's the limit. You can just see it right in merge fields. And versioning, as I said, it is supported by default. Okay. Yeah, you can just see this. I can save this as a new version, just like a flow. So maximum 50 versions are supported right now. Okay. Yeah. So just have a quick look at this limits and constraints before you appear for the certification. Okay. Then you are good to go to answer at least 3 or 4 questions. Okay, around this. Yeah. Right. So with that, what I'll do is I'll just test your knowledge. Okay. Just read this and tell me which you can just put it in the chat window. Which option would you go with as an agent force specialist for this particular business scenario? Which option would you go with? I have 2 questions before we jump on to the other concept. So this is totally related to prompt template. So keep that in mind and then just take the odd one out. You should be good, to choose. You should be able to easily find the right answer. All right, I think everybody wants to go with A, isn't it? So far, I see Preeti, Kabir, Satya, Klish, lot of folks. B, I see few Bs, and nobody wants to go with A, or sorry, C, isn't it? Which is cool. All right, let's quickly move forward. Thank you so much. I have one more question. So let's see the right answer, which one it is. Yes, it is option A. Yeah, because I'm going to create, as I said earlier, so you have multiple prompt template types, isn't it? Yeah. So when you choose a prompt template, of course, you have this record summary, which is super cool. And what you can do is you can just choose case. Okay. And of course, after which you can just create a nice prompt and then use that across any case records to summarize the information, right? That's exactly what is asked right here. The tier two support agents, when they pick up the case to further work, right? So whichever the team that earlier the handed over, that hands over the case, correct? So if everything is consolidated in uh, one simple uh, place, correct? Yeah. Again, if it is not done manually through AI, then that's really going to improve the productivity, correct? So that's the right way to implement, and that's exactly where the AI will really help you. Okay, cases like this, right? So with that, option A is the right one. Option B is relevant to agents, which we will be talking about today, actions, etc. So it's a different way to think. Okay. Anyways, we will discuss. Okay, as we go on in the session. Yeah. Modify the existing one. No, I think we don't want to modify. There is nothing already available. We'll just create a new one. Okay, so we can get this done. This is the second question. So again, take 20 seconds and then share your option, either A, B, or C in the chat window. So, so you have to remember the concept that was discussed in the last session. Those who are new joining this session for the first time, don't worry, make an attempt. Okay, we will discuss anyways. Yeah. So this is something about the record snapshots. Okay. All right, it's A, C. Okay, between A and C, I see a lot of nobody wants to go with B. Hmm, interesting. All right, I'll give you 5 more seconds. Let's see. All right. Okay, it's between A or A. It's either A or C. Okay, good. So which one is right? Let's test this out. Okay, yeah. Let me go back here and we just had seen this product description, right? Yeah. So one thing about this merge fields or data grounding, it's like I'm giving each and every input one after the other, the name first, the family first, etc. Isn't it? So let me try to run this first. Okay, I'll click on preview. We'll choose a product. Let's go with the same women t-shirt. Okay, and let's click on preview. Let it give me some output first. Yeah. All right. So what I see is, in place of the name, I see women t-shirt colored. In place of family, I'm seeing the clothing. An actual value is replaced, isn't it? And the gender is also good. Size is all sizes. And this is the actual file, that we wanted the AI to read and then accordingly create the description. This is cool, correct? So now if I go back to the prompt, okay. So if I want to include, let's say, the product category as well and the product dimensions as well. So I'll keep on adding one after the other, right? Instead, there is another way to do it, which is simple. Let's say product info. What I'll do is I'll go to the prompt, I'll go to insert resource, then I'll click on prompt, and then I have this option called record snapshot. Then that's it. So now I'll save this as a new version because I don't want to touch the active one. Yeah. So now if this is the current output, correct? Now let's try this with this newly added record snapshot. So typically what happens is when you use a snapshot, see, you can just see the change. The thing is, it's bringing all the information, correct, about the product, from the product record data. The product name is right here, correct? Product code, yeah, product family, and all the fields basically active, target, gender, career. So these fields are coming from this page, coming from this page. The product name, whatever you see, product name, active, product code, target, and everything is coming from the page. So the point is, whenever you use record snapshot, okay, all the fields from the page are the values from the field, correct? From the from the fields are going to be available for you when you send this data to the LLM, correct? So this is cool, and this is exactly what is asked right here. But the point is, it says that there are some expected data that is not showing up. For example, in this case, we have the product code, yeah, is showing up. But imagine that the product code is not there in this, resolved prompt. Okay. So what would be the reason if you see there is particular field that is not showing up in this input? Yeah. So it happens only when if you don't have any data in that field. Because the prompt template, whenever you use the record snapshot, it will try to go through all the fields, in the prompt, in the page layout. Okay. And it will find if there is a value. If there is no value, in this case, product type does not have any value. Maybe I'll remove this. I'll save this one. Now let's try this again. Okay. We'll see whether the product code is showing up or not. You can just see this. The product name is there, product family is there, active. The product code is missing. Correct? Yeah. This is exactly the scenario is. Okay. You are finding some expected data missing. Okay. Why? Because the field has no values. Okay. Yeah. And when you don't have any value, Salesforce will automatically suppress from adding that information into your prompt before it is sent to the LLM. Okay. That's the whole idea. Okay. Yeah. And why it is important? Because as we always say, we'll try to give as much information as possible to the LLM, correct? So that yeah, Amrita was said, yeah. So that you will get the desired output, isn't it? So when you see that output is not the expected one, then you have to check on these things as an AI specialist. Okay, so we'll be tested around these troubleshooting techniques as well. Yeah, good. So this is super cool. And with that, we're going to talk about a few new concepts which you should be aware of, and then you'll be ready to get tested when you appear for the certification. Okay, yeah. I'll start from here. Basically, this one. We'll probably go to this prompt. Mm, all right. Go to the settings. Yeah, I'll keep this right here. Okay, so uh, is the right value fine? Okay. So what do you think is the number one you know so Salesforce always, says this. So the number one priority or the value that they, give it to the customer, correct? Is, do you know what it is? Number one value, trust. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So remember back in the days, right, when Salesforce, came up with this concept of CRM on the cloud. Yeah, everybody laughed at Mark Benioff and the team, correct? Because nobody wanted to move the customer data to the cloud, correct? Everybody wanted to keep the data in their own data center, keep it secure because customer data is invaluable, highly invaluable, so that it's super sensitive, correct? But this trust principle, right, that helps Salesforce to reach the state where they are today, isn't it? Yeah. Even if your data is on the cloud, it is completely safe and secure. So that trust is something that Salesforce built over the decades, correct? And now, if trust is the number one principle, the core value, correct? Then how do you see this? How do you see this? Because see, these LLMs are not coming from Salesforce, right? The GPT-4, Azure, the OpenAI, the Anthropic, Claude, etc. Correct? So these are not created by Salesforce, isn't it? So Salesforce is actually using a third-party large language model, correct, to deliver the output for us, which means our data is actually going out of Salesforce, the Salesforce platform. Is it acceptable? Because one common fear across the leaders, across everyone in the industry, especially the enterprise customers, right, is that when they use LLMs, especially the open, the public portals, etc., your data it's actually used for training purpose, because everything thrives around the data, isn't it? The entire LLM thrives around the data. So so can I trust this public platform, LLMs that are used in the public platforms, the Chat GPT, Copilot, etc.? I'm not talking about the paid ones. I'm talking about the public, the one that is available for us to use. So they're using our data, for training. Not every piece of information, but there are, with your consent, right? They are actually using that data for training. So now, if that's the case, certainly, right, the enterprise customers will rethink about the trust that we have placed, on Salesforce, isn't it? How do I ensure that my customer data is safe and secure? Okay, while I understand that data, when I just use the data right here in the prompt, it has to go to that LLM to get the response, isn't it? So which means the data is going outside Salesforce, isn't it? Yeah. So what is the answer? How does Salesforce, handle this challenge? Okay, how does Salesforce convince that okay, data is still safe, we still, value that value, we still hold that core value trust, okay, but at the same time, we are giving you the best, the best AI at your service, correct? Yeah. So how does Salesforce, able to handle this entire challenge? Yeah. So to answer to this question, what we have or what Salesforce has introduced in the Agentforce platform is the trust layer. That's it. Simple trust layer. So whatever we do, for example, when I click on preview, yeah, when I click on preview, it's thinking, isn't it? It's thinking, it's doing something to get the response back, correct? So basically, what happens is the prompt is substituted with all the actual values. That is
எனக்கு
what.
ஞாயிற்றுக்கிழமை மட்டும் கொடுத்தா போறோம். ஆமா, இன்னைக்கு என்ன சனிக்கிழமை இல்லையா? சனி, ஞாயிறு, திங்கள், செவ்வாய், புதன் 5 நாள் வேண்டாங்க்கா. ஆ,
How do I yes, thank you. Yeah. All right. So the
Yeah.
point is right. So before the LLM, before it goes to the LLM, there's something happening behind the scenes, right? So that's precisely what the trust layer is all about. It's not like simply it just goes into the LLM and then gets you this output as response. No, it doesn't happen that way. So it goes through this LLM. So what does this? So it goes through this in a trust layer. So what does this trust layer do? Very simple. Take a mental picture of this, a snapshot of this picture. Okay, because you will see at least 4 or 5 questions around this Einstein trust layer. Okay, which is fairly simple, fairly simple. Okay, what you see here is the secure data retrieval, because the point is that whenever you have a prompt, okay, yeah, the first thing is the data substitution happens, correct? So we have the placeholder, the actual data gets substituted. So that's this particular block all of it. Then the masking, data masking, happens. So whenever there is a what do you call sensitive information, Salesforce will mask the data, and that's the job of this trust layer. Okay, what do I mean by masking? I'll show you in the next slide. Okay, then there is something called prompt defense, because as I said, Gen AI is meant to be generate something new. Okay, so unless you control through guardrails to some instructions, it will hallucinate. It will give you some information that you may not like. Okay, so you have to have some prompt defense. Okay, these two techniques are used within Salesforce. Okay, then before it reaches that LLM, in this case, the moment I hit preview, or the moment I hit this button, yeah, moment I hit this button for generating product description, right? So the data goes to the LLM, correct? The data goes to the LLM, and once it reaches the LLM, in this case, is it ChatGPT Mini? Why did I choose this? I'll go with Google. That's okay. We'll come back. So the moment it goes to the model, right? Of course, the model will save this data, no question about it. But there is a legal agreement between the model providers and Salesforce, that the model providers should not at any cost store any data, even this masked or not. It should not store any data. So legally, Salesforce and the open and the A provider, the LLM providers, right, are legally bound so that the LLM providers are not going to hold any data. Even unintentionally, if some data is shared, okay, to the model, it is still okay. It is still okay because of the zero data retention policy between Salesforce and the model. And this is the exact thing that you are going to tell your customer when your customer is having some questions around, whether I can trust Salesforce to, Salesforce Agent Force, when it's processing my sensitive customer data. Yeah. So this is forward, and once the response comes back, right? So again, it's a Gen AI. It generates something. So it is important to eliminate some toxic statements, etc. So that happens when the data demasking happens. Finally, everything gets logged before it is, given as an output. So the point is, whenever you use Agent Force, any, the prompt template agents we will talk about, behind the scenes, everything goes through this trust layer. Everything goes through this trust layer. And this is how it will happen, the data masking. So whenever Salesforce finds that there is a name which is sensitive, okay, it will just replace that or mask that or parameterize that, with this space, person underscore zero, person underscore one or two, whatever. Yeah. So this is the actual data that goes to the LLM. So the LLM doesn't know whether it is about William or someone. Yeah. For the LLM, it's just person. That's it. Okay. Yeah. It will not have any clue about which person, for which the review is being generated. Yeah. Then the prompt difference, as I said, it's basically the guardrails. Okay. We are going to very clearly say that LLM do not cross the boundary. Always stick to, the data that is passed on to you. Do not think over and then think outside your boundary and then show the response. Then the toxicity. Okay, so it will check in the response if there are any hate content, or if there is any inappropriate words. If there is something, Salesforce will automatically filter those out before it is shown in the output. Okay, yeah. So I'll quickly show a demo. Okay, how where this configured everything. Okay, then the next thing. So while we talk about the toxicity, so this is the model that is used behind the scenes, basically trained by the Salesforce AI research team. Okay, with this 2.3 million prompts. Okay, so that just this is to prove that Salesforce has the capability to able to find whether there is a toxic content in the response. Okay, yeah. So that's typically what happens. Basically, once it is done, it just puts on a scale of 0 to 1. Okay, if it is zero, it is super safe. Or sorry, if it is it's not safe. It's super toxic. If it is 1, more safe. Okay, so the response will be shown. So if you go back now, right here, so you can just see right in this one, generate response. You can just see this, right? So that is this view mask. So right now, there is one information that is masked. Okay, for example, this is the actual name. If you go right here, this is the actual data that is sent, correct, to the LLM. If you just scroll down, and you should see you can just see this is the created by, if the Einstein trust layer data masking is not available, then I would certainly see Sumati, and that's the name of the creator right here. And that will go into the LLM, which we don't want to happen. So Salesforce trust layer is helping you right here. So it tells you all the sensitive data that is masked. Okay. Not only that, you can look at this. So it looks like there is a toxicity detected in the response when I used this model. Yeah. So it did change that, it did remove that toxic content. You can find it in the audit. But the point is, right, it did detect some toxicity in the response and it was automatically removed. Now it is safe and secure to use it inside, to use it right here, isn't it? Yeah. So as an AI specialist, I look at all these things. Okay. Yeah, the masking, the toxicity, everything. And if I see that this model is not good enough for me, it is throwing a lot of toxic content, correct? Then I'll just switch to, something else. In this case, Google Gemini, and I'll give it a try, save and preview. We'll see if there are, if this model is giving you the better response. Okay, with less. You can just see this, right? Earlier, the toxicity was there when I used the model from OpenAI. So now, or sorry, Azure, and now there is no, there is no toxic, which means, I would rather go with this particular model to generate the data. Super cool, isn't it? Yeah. So now the next thing is, this is right, Rajesh. How do I take control? Number one. Number two, um, uh, okay, I will answer to all these questions. And Priya, everything, for now, just hold on to your questions. We have a separate, we'll allocate certain time towards the end. I'll take questions. Okay. Yeah. Uh, Now, the point is, how does Salesforce know that name is a sensitive data? What if my customer says that it's not just name? I want the customer type should also be included as a sensitive data. How do I configure that? Yeah. Or let's say my customer, I have my customer card payments details, their banking details are stored in the system, right? Yeah. So how do I ensure that that is also masked? Okay, when that data is used in the prompt. Yeah. So for that purpose, number one, what you need is data cloud for sure. Okay. Of course, when you purchase Agent Force, data cloud will always will be available as a package. Okay. Enable data cloud, something that I showed you in the last session. Yeah. So you have to go to the admin data cloud setup, for which you need data cloud admin permission set, remember. And once it is done, you will see this an option called get started. In our case, it is done. Yeah. So click on get started. It will take, at least an hour to complete. Finally, you will see something like this. It shows me that data cloud setup is completed. That's it. Okay. Once it is done, what you could do is you can just simply go to the setup and then look for Einstein trust layer. Okay, and this is where the entire masking, all such things, can be configured. Okay, first thing is I'm going to enable this data masking. If it is not there, enable it. Number one, and then you will see bunch of pre-configured options. Okay, like the name, email address. See, this is the reason why the name was masked. Okay, in the prompt. Okay, if I had used email address, that would have also been masked. I can able to toggle on and off. Okay, but this is not comprehensive, isn't it? Yeah, comprehensive at all. So if that is the case, I can able to other fine tune. Okay, this is option one, sensitive data, where you can able to toggle some generic content. Yeah, so I can able to choose the compliance categories as well. Yeah, if you are working for a healthcare customer, of course, HIPAA standard is important, correct? Or if you're dealing with cards and payments, right? Then you can just turn it on. The point is when it happens, Salesforce will detect. Okay, if our standard is enabled and if a prompt is using some doctor information or clinical information about a patient, automatic information is going to be masked. Okay, you don't have to explicitly say. Just toggle this. That's it. Okay, so at the compliance category level, you can decide which data to be masked and must. Okay, and at the field level, you can able to choose. But again, this is not comprehensive, isn't it? So that's the reason Salesforce tells you can able to take a complete granular control by configuring data sensitive levels. Okay, because every time whenever you create a field, yeah, whenever you create a field in Salesforce, you have an option to choose the data sensitive level, isn't it? Yeah. Um, so all you have to do is, let's say I wanted to ensure that all fields for which the data sensitive level is mission critical should be masked. Okay, when that field is used in the prompt template. I just configure this right here. Okay, and if I go back and then save, I have to save it. This is cool. It's enabled. Now, if I go to any field, for example, in the prompt, in this product, yeah, which we have been working on. So let's say that for me the product, what is it? Yeah, I'll go to create some relationships. Let's say I wanted to mask this product code. Okay, if it is used in the prompt. Okay, all I have to do is just go there and then set the data sensitive level. That's it. If I just set this to product code as mission critical. Okay. So now what happens is the next time when I run this prompt, if the prompt contains product code, it will also be masked because back in the instant trust layer, we had it enabled. We had the mission critical enabled, and back at the field level, we had it, we had the sensitive level configured. That's it. So this is how Salesforce Answering Layer, we can able to control what data needs to be masked and unmasked, right, at a field level. Okay, so the key points to remember. So one is at the generic columns, the sensitive columns, name, address, email number, password, etc. That's at a high level, isn't it? Number two, at a complaints category level, you can able to define what needs to be masked and not. Number three, at a granular level, you can use data sensitive, field data sensitive level to define which fields, are considered as critical by the customer and ensure that it is, masked. Okay, so all these things are important. Okay, so that you give, more confidence to your customer that your data is secure, right? Because trust is the number one principle, right, at the core value that still Salesforce holds, isn't it? Yeah. So that is truly truly important. Not only that, you can also uh, right now it's still in beta. I don't know if it is still there. Yeah, toxicity detection. So uh, because right now Salesforce automatically detects the toxicity. I showed you, right? It was trained with 2.3 million prompts, all such things, isn't it? Yeah. But Salesforce is not giving you the option to change the toxicity or customize the toxicity words or the categories. Okay, it's still in beta, but you can turn it on. If you can turn it on and give it a try. Okay. So right now, toxic reduction by default is enabled. Okay, yeah, is enabled. Keep this on at no point in time. Don't do that. Okay. Prompt injection is another security uh, thing. Just like SQL injection and other security, other threats that typically, we see in a web application. Now we are using a lot of prompts, right? So that is something called prompt injection. Okay, I don't want to go in detail into this. Okay, it's more of a security feature. Okay, so right now it is also in beta. Just enable it. Okay, I can start using it. So all these are important just to ensure that the data is first not compromised, sensitive data is not compromised. Yeah. Number two, your data contains, clean data, no toxicity, no toxic data, no toxic words or hallucinated content, etc. Okay. Yeah. So that's the whole idea. How you can able to configure. That's the whole concept of ancient trust layer and how you can, as an agent force specialist, configure and make it work. For your use case. Make sense? So this is what we just had seen. Yeah, this is exactly what we had seen right now. Yeah. Now let's do a quick knowledge check. Okay, we did this, isn't it? I'll see again, as I said, take a mental picture, snapshot of that image. Remember? Yeah. So let's see how many of you are able to get this one. So this is the question of the four features listed right here. Which one do you think is not a functionality of Einstein Trust Layer? Put that in the chat window. I'll give you 20 seconds. Remember that picture and then pick up the right answer. I want to see quickly. Okay, I see a lot of D's. Okay, I think everyone wants to go with the D, isn't it? Yeah. No, but D, 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 D. I see everybody goes. Yes, nice. This is cool. Sarvesh, Raghav, D, D, D. Okay, good. All right, that's the right one. Yeah. So if you remember that picture, dynamic rounding, before it is sending data to the LLM, of course, it just picks up the data from the auth. Dynamic rounding is there. Masking sensitive data, we did talk about it. Toxicity and bias, that's what we did talk, just a few minutes ago. And this is not something available as part of trust layer. Unlimited data retention. No, that's totally, 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 Salesforce is against. Correct? Zero data retention. It's not unlimited, zero data retention. We don't want the third-party providers to hold our data at any cost. Correct? So that's the reason there is a legal, it's legally, it's bound. Okay. So moreover, Salesforce is also doing this, for few LLMs, as in they take that LLM from the third party provider and then they host it in the Salesforce managed platform, managed infra. Okay, yeah. So in that way, Salesforce will have complete control what goes into that in the LLM, what information is stored, etc. Okay, so that's also something is done by Salesforce. Okay, yeah. So multiple ways in which Salesforce protects your data, but trust layer is the answer. Whenever there is a question around the sensitive, and a question around the trust, okay, about using AI along with the customer data plus the third party LLM, look at the trust layer. Okay. So now the right answer to this one is unlimited dimension. It's not a feature. All right. So so we talked about Einstein trust layer. Before that, we talked about again the prompt template, few things, correct? Now, so all these things are good, right? But for a developer, is there anything available for me? Because these days, right, writing a code is so easy, correct? Whether I know this technology or not, whether I know C Sharp, whether I know Node.js, Node or Python, I can still able to write code, isn't it? Yeah, I can still go to ChatGPT or Claude or Replit, Copilot, multiple LLM models. That helps me to write code. But the point is there anything available for me within Salesforce, isn't it? If yes, how I can help myself to use this, and then increase the productivity, right? So yes, it is possible. Okay. So there are few ways in which we can able to use this agent force for developers. Okay. Yeah. It helps you write code. Of course, if you have an existing code, it helps you to enhance the quality of code and helps you to further fine tune. Okay, if you have some enhancements, right, that you wanted to implement, you can able to use simple prompt and then do that. Okay, yeah. So these things, you should remember right now. It's possible. I've seen SoQL is not too great right now, in this Copilot or Agent Force for developers, but it is doing a good job. When if you ask the Agent Force for developers to write code, create test classes, and this is super, 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 easy these days to create a test class. Okay, because as a developer, we spend a lot of time in creating a test classes, correct? Yeah. So it's super easy now with this. And also, if you are an ISV and then you wanted to create a code with a proper documentation, everything, of course, you can able to generate the documentation as well. So how does that work in action? Right, very simple. All we have to do is I think I have this one. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just stop sharing the screen. Thought I had just right here. All right, I'll just bring my screen back. All right. So I'll close everything. Good. So what you need is first the VS Code. Okay. So you need a VS Code extension to get this. So it's totally free. Whether you use whether you have a Agent Force license or not, doesn't matter. Okay. All you need is you just need a VS Code. It's totally free. You just have to go to this extensions, look for Agent Force for developers. Okay, look for the extension that comes from Salesforce. If you find some other provider, don't go with that. Go with that. Okay, look for the one that comes from Salesforce. Just install it. That's all it is. Okay. So this is where Salesforce is using its own or the proprietary model called CodeGen that helps you to generate the code. Okay. Yeah. So this is the thing that you need. Once it is there, you will find a new icon right to Agentforce. Once it is installed, and then just restart your VS Code if it's not appearing. Once it is done, you'll find it right here. Okay, so this is river assistant that comes with this. Okay, then just ensure that your VS Code, your VS Code has SFDX project, and the project is connected to an OR, connected to an OR. Okay, the moment you connect an OR, what happens is Salesforce will or the Salesforce Agent Force for developers will have the entire knowledge about the metadata of an org that is connected to this project. Okay, and how does that help? Because when you ask this agent to create a code, okay, for example, let me ask, okay, um, what should we ask? Let's ask. Let me try this. I'll explain or I'll ask the generate a code. Okay, yeah. So I'll say that maybe I'll ask very simple question. Okay. I'll say that, can you help me with an Apex class uh, and, um, and a method that accepts user ID as input and returns user record. Ensure proper error handling and best practices are followed. Okay, yeah, let's see what happens. So now behind the scenes, the code gen, the LLM, okay, which is a proprietary one from Salesforce, it's going to help you. Okay, with the code. You can just see this, right? Yeah, right here. You can just see the class is created. Maybe I just create a new class. My palette, create a new class. I just move this code. Okay, all right. Let's copy this thing. Just just move this from here to here. That's it. Okay, we have this simple one. We have this catch and we have this try catch everything, isn't it? Yeah. So now let's save this. Okay. So I've just created a new, Apex code, correct? So let me just ask this. So let's say a method that accepts user ID and or maybe I'll just do it this way that accepts user first name, last name, email, profile, role, and creates a new user. Okay. So now you can just see this, it automatically started showing me the code that I need to, I need to start writing. So just tab out, you will just find the code, appearing as you start, as you start pressing, tab. Okay. So it's thinking. So give me this. Okay. It's doing something, but let's see. At least, it gives me an wow, location, email. Nice. So everything is generated by the Gen AI. Let's see. Let's see. Match. Okay. There are a few errors here and there. Okay, but I think this is doing a good job, isn't it? Yeah. So think about it. It's a simple, it's a um, very simple code. Yeah. But the point is, if you just elaborate, the input parameters, how you wanted the output to be, the error handling, and any checks that you wanted to do in the in this in the code, everything you can just able to just simply ask the AI to do it for you. Yeah. So option CATH. Yeah. So again, this is not So this is not 100%. Of course, this is a simple code. You can able to run it directly. But the point is, as a developer, okay, I will just review the code and then see if it is really meeting my expectations. Okay, otherwise you can able to tweak it. But the whole point is, as a developer, I don't have to start from the scratch, isn't it? Yeah, I don't have to do that. I can able to simply use the AI to start with a code that is halfway through or 60 to 70% ready and then start building on top of it, isn't it? That's the whole idea. So you can able to create an Apex code. Not only that, let's try this. I'll say that slash explain user util. Okay. So now what happens is if you are working in a project where you are seeing a code, a legacy code that is written by someone else, correct? Yeah, and there is no documentation at all, and you are not very confident about a particular line of code, right? So you can just simply ask slash explain if you have Agentforce for developers. Okay. So the entire help salesforce.com, developers.salesforce.com. The entire, the documentation is used to behind the scenes, right? Is used to fine tune that LLM, and it will help you to understand what each and every line in your code, does. Okay, so in that way, it helps you to understand some legacy codes as well. If you want to optimize, you can able to do that. Okay, not only that, you can able to simply say test. Let's see what happens when we do it. So when I do this, when I use this chat interface, everything appears right here, and then I can able to simply use this, and then bring it where I can do it. Okay. Otherwise, I can use SFDX commands. I'll go to the command palette. Okay. I just look for Agent Force. So there is something called a generate Apex test, generate a code, and as explained thing. Yeah, we'll try this, generate an Apex test. Okay. So it will ask me, okay, Rajesh, which class file you wanted this class to be generated. Okay, I'll just say this one, user util, yeah. And select Apex method. What did happen? No, looks like I, recently I just updated my Java on this system. Maybe that's causing the issue. So the point is you can able to simply, I don't know if I can able to solve this right away. Okay. So typically what happens is whenever you choose this Apex method, okay, um, let me try this again. I'll try this. So we'll get a new class file created. That's the thing that I just wanted to show. I don't want this Apex file. Let's say I wanted to insert opportunities. Method. Oh yeah, good. This is working. Good. Um, I'd say select text file. I wanted to create a new file, then generate. So let's wait for this to complete. Okay. So all we just have to do is just map the file. Okay, which methods for which you wanted to create this test class or test methods. Just include that. You can just see this, right? Again, I wouldn't say it is 100% accurate. Okay, but it's a good start, isn't it? Yeah. So think about it, how much time it will take. It's a very simple example that I picked up. So this agent force for developers is metadata, right? If you have a custom fields, custom objects, right, and custom validation rules, everything, right? So it knows. Okay, if you just say that, okay, can you create a code? Let's say there is a custom object called discount. Okay, you wanted to create an helper method, Apex method, which actually inserts some data into the discount object, custom object. You can just simply ask in the chat in the agent force for developers chat interface. It will help you, or it will create a code with exact the API name of the custom object, API name of the custom field, everything. Okay, the reason is this is metadata. The Salesforce metadata is known to this agent force, because when you install this, once it is installed and once your VS Code is connected to an OR, okay, automatically the metadata, everything gets uh, collected by the agent force, and it will be ready to answer any questions, even if it is a standard object or or the custom object as it is. Okay, that's the whole idea about this agent force for developers. Okay, so you can also create. Done is fine. I'll go right here. So you can able to create a LWC component. So can you create an LWC component which with again try to be as detailed as possible, correct? Remember that. That's the first thing, correct? You're dealing with an LLM just like a kid. You have to be as just like how you explain to a kid, you have to be as detailed as possible. So create LWC component with, um, with a text box that accepts customer ID. Okay, customer number, I'll just say. Okay, then a button named know your customer should be added and aligned center. Okay, yeah, aligned the center. So use SLDS to CSS framework. for this framework. Okay, so you can also say on click of the button, ensure the ensure the JS controller calls um, let's say purpose class insert. I know it doesn't sound um, insert opportunities to complete. Okay, I know. Doesn't sound doesn't I don't know. So I'm taking customer input and then just calling some random class, isn't it? But it's okay just for the just to see whether it is able to understand my intent and then getting this output is what I wanted to see. Can you please provide the Apex class name? I believe it's insert opportunities. Let's see whether it's able to bring me the code or not. Apex class name, very nice. I think I'll just say insert opportunities. I think that's the name of the form, name of the method, I believe. If not, you can give that. That's it. Okay. Insert 50 opportunities. That's the name. Okay. Let's see. See, I just gave the name insert 50 opportunities, correct? So this is what I was just telling. It's metadata aware. Okay, it knows the org as insert 50 opportunities. So that's the reason it is going to build the code for me. And if you take a look, we have a code that will certainly work. You know, that will certainly work. We have this Apex right here. That is this LWC. Can you give me LWC code? Let's try this. Okay, good that it did write this code for me now. Wanted to call the above class. So the point is, you can able to build an Apex code, create test classes. You can also create, LWC code. Is that why it is not creating? That is fine. Yes, please. I'll try to be more clear this time. Let's see. Now, finally, it started creating the LWC. Okay, so the whole point of the key takeaway is it is possible. Okay, for you to start building the code in a much faster way than we used to create the code before. Okay, yeah. Plus, it is so safe and secure. Yeah, your metadata is not going to go anywhere out in the public platforms. Yeah, it stays right within Salesforce because it is a Salesforce proprietary, code gen model and dev assistant available. Okay, which we can use it. Okay, yeah. So you will find few questions around this agent force for developers as well when you appear for the certification. Yeah. So let's go back here. And for now, we can use this for generating the code, create test classes, and also for understanding the code and as well as do documentation. Yeah. So this is how Salesforce, as a developer, we can able to use the agent force to increase the productivity. Yeah. Makes sense? All right. So we just completed this agent force for developers demo. All right. So we have next. I thought we should close this by 11:30 and then take more questions. Well, let's see. Let's see. How much we can able to cover in the next 10 minutes because the next concept, agents, right? It's another important one. So once you understand the concept, it's so easy for you to start building. Okay, yeah, start building new agents, start customizing the existing agents, etc. Right, and if I go back now, so what is this agent thing all about? Yeah. So this is the definition. Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds to read this definition or 20 seconds to read this definition. Try to understand this slide. Okay, then we'll talk. Yeah, it's a Salesforce given definition. Okay, few good jargons that you will see in this slide: role, knowledge, actions, guardrails, channels, blah blah blah. Yeah, try to make sense out of it. Then we'll break this down. Okay, we got 10 more seconds. All right. So it's it's not super easy to understand this, right? It says environment, make decisions, take actions, achieve specific goals. So not something very easy to understand, isn't it? So let's break this down. Let's break this down. What is an agent basically? Yeah. So before we talk about agents, just think about how humans, typically how humans think. For example, if I ask you to let's say there is an IPL, or if I ask you, um, um, so the team that won the IPL trophy, let's say in 2015, yeah. So can you immediately get the answer if I ask you which team did win IPL trophy in the year 2015? Few might able to recall, correct? Yeah, if you're a diehard fan and watch, follow cricket very, very closely. Of course, you can be able to get it. But for others, as a human, what do? We just try to think, and if we don't have an answer, what is the next thing that we do? We go to Google and then see that okay, which team did win in 2020 with IPL trophy? You find the answer, isn't it? Good. Then I'll ask you the next question. Like, uh, so, uh, can we plan for a movie this weekend? Let's say Jurassic World, Rebirth. Yeah. Can you book the tickets for us? Then what do? You will just think and then go to PVR cinemas, go to this, book my show, other portals to book the ticket. Look for the options and then book the ticket, isn't it? Yeah. So the point is, as a human, based on the topic that I ask, you will just try to respond back, isn't it? Yeah. The person is about the cricket, which team did win the trophy. So you know that okay, this is about cricket, the sports, right? And then you just respond back, yeah, with an answer. The next topic that I would I picked was about sports, right? About the entertainment, right? Booking a movie. So immediately what you typically do is you just go and then find whether the tickets are available for this movie in the portal, correct? So as a human, we just first try to understand the context, basically the topic, and then you will try to respond back, correct? Now exactly the same thing, it's done when we wanted to mimic that we wanted to give that to a program, give that capability to a program, like in a computer program or software program. That's exactly what is done in the agent setup. Okay, yeah. So now if we come back, right? So just give me 1 minute, guys. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. So just like this, okay, yeah, just like this, the agent that we are talking about, right? The software program has some knowledge, okay, yeah. Of course, you know about you know about the cricket, right? You know about the sport cricket, but sometimes you may not know the team that won the trophy in 2015, right? So you have a knowledge, but not everything, not every piece of information that you have. So just like that, the agent has a knowledge, okay, but the agent cannot do everything. Okay, everything. So in our case, when I asked about the team that won the trophy in 2015, which some of you may not have the answer, you just Google and then find the answer. Right? That's an action that you took, correct? Do the Google and then get some information out, correct? So that's an action. So when you build an agent, that agent will have some knowledge, inbuilt knowledge or inherent knowledge, correct? And if there is anything that the agent can do within that knowledge capability, then it's okay. If it is not there, then we need to give that capability in terms of an action by giving actions. Okay, actions could be anything. Technically, in this case, right, sending an email, creating a record, or finding some information, summarizing some data. All these are actions. Okay, yeah. So sometimes the inherent actions or inherent knowledge and actions will help for the agents to perform. Otherwise, we have to, as a AI specialist, we have to help the agent to develop that capability. Not only that, whenever we deal with agents, because nothing but a program or a Gen AI, correct? Yeah, it has a by nature it will generate some content, correct? So we have to have the guardrails installed, right? Then how am I going to use this agent? That's the channel. Okay, so today if I wanted to use an agent, which we use it all the time, correct? It's our chat GPT, isn't it? Yeah. So I go to chat GPT and then have this interface and then use it. So it's a web application in which I have this, agent available, correct? Yeah. Or I can use Meta AI in your WhatsApp. So in your mobile, that's a channel, correct? So in your mobile, you have this Meta AI, which you can able to use it, right? So basically when you create an agent, you decide on which channel you wanted to use it, whether it is in the mobile application you wanted to use the agent, yeah, or you wanted to use it in a website, just like chat gpt. You can put this agent as a chat bot, right, in your company website, or you want to use it in your teams or slack. You decide, but the point is it is possible. When you build this agent, you can able to deploy this across various channels. Okay, so that's the whole concept is all about. So keeping this in mind, yeah, think about this. Okay. So imagine that you are, again, as a human, just think. Okay. So you have this event management. You are an event management coordinator. Okay. You have been asked to, run a wedding ceremony. As a wedding planner, what do you do? So you cannot do everything, correct? You need people. You need different people. So think about it. So you have an agent, different topics, agent as in catering is one area where you will focus on. Guest management is another area you will focus on. You will just assign this catering, thing to a particular guy and guest management to another team, team planning and decoration to another team. And what are the actions that they typically perform? A catering team will try to, summarize or get the menu. The catering team will talk about, what menu that we can do for the dinner, what menu we can do it for the lunch, correct? All such things. And how much it's going to cost, contract terms. So all these are typical actions that you expect from a catering team, isn't it? Guest management, typically, managing the guest, how we, the logistics plan, etc. Team planning and decoration. Similarly, suggest different, themes for the wedding, isn't it? And prepare a complete task, the list of things, to be done for the theme planning and the decoration, correct? So all these are, corresponding actions, isn't it? Yeah. So just like this, when you have a scenario, for which you wanted to build an agent, okay, yeah, then you will be typically thinking about this. Okay, you will create an agent, you will create topics. So technically behind, in the Salesforce ecosystem, this is what we do. We create an agent, we create topics, and then we create actions. Okay, yeah. So just like this, we are going to using this. We're going to implement. We're going to implement a simple agent. Okay, and then we can wrap up. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to do it and then wrap up. Okay. So before I go here, as a human, we have this. We think, correct? So we have this brain and then we think, isn't it? Yeah. So we think and then answer. So when I ask about the question, who won the trophy in 2015? Of course, you started thinking, correct? That's the brain that, the thought process went in. Just like that, Just like that, what is really powering up this agent force or the agents in Salesforce that that makes the software program to think, correct? So that the appropriate topic can be recognized and appropriate actions can be taken. So that's where Atlas reasoning engine comes into the play. So this is the backbone, this is the brain behind the scenes. Okay. So Salesforce uses Atlas reasoning engine, okay, to give away the answers. Okay, whenever you build the agent. Okay. So so remember this Atlas reasoning engine term because you will be tested. Okay, in the certification. Yeah. So let's quickly create one and then we can move forward. Okay, I wanted to pick a very, very, very simple scenario. Okay, I have a few more lined up, which we can do it in the next session. As I can show you. Okay, to understand this concept, I wanted to pick a very simple scenario. Okay, called lead creation. So what is that lead creation? What does this do? Okay, I want to take help from AI to create a lead. I want to change the experience for the user to create or add leads in the system. Okay, yeah. I don't want the traditional way of going to the new button and then click on this pop-up text open and then enter details. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, yeah. So if I go back now um, to my system. Okay, yeah. So talking about agents, two things you need to remember. Okay, so first go right here to the setup. Right away jump in with the demo. So look for agent builder. Okay, so it's just under this agent studio. Okay, so this is where you can create some new agents. If you want to deploy this in your WhatsApp or Slack or website, you can do that, which we'll do it in the next session, not now. Okay, Salesforce will give you a default agent named Agentforce default. Okay, so this is an internal agent, the one and only internal agent that you can able to use it inside Salesforce. So all Salesforce org users can use it, provided that you enable access to permission set. But this is by default gets created. Okay, yeah. So if you go right here into this agent force default, few things you will keep in mind. First thing, the description. Okay, as in if you want to give an my agent, a name. Okay, agent a name like okay, I'm Ava. I want your A assistant, and I help you with all such things. This is where you configure. Okay, yeah, and sorry, this is the welcome message. This is where you configure. Okay, welcome message, and if something goes wrong, what would be the error message that you wanted to send it back to the user. So you configure such things right here, and also the multi-language support. In this case, it is default English, and the tone you can able to design. So you cannot. So only in the agents you can able to configure the tone right here. Okay. Um, maybe it's active. Maybe that's the reason of the edit this. I will go back. Agents. Okay, process agent, this is done. I'll click on edit. I'll deactivate this, then we can able to I click on open builder. So I'll deactivate this. Once it is deactivated, you can able to set the tone, you can set the welcome message, all 16 you can able to do it, or I can deactivate this. Otherwise, what I can do is I can just simply go and then create a new version. Okay, just like prompt builder agents also also support the inbuilt versioning. Version 1 is active. Yeah, I don't want to use the version 1. Instead I wanted to go right here and then let's clone this. This is go. I'll go back now. Let's just clone this version. Okay, an agent can run in the production at the same time you can able to make tweaks in the and do enhancements in the application. Okay, yeah. So as I said earlier, event management, remember the question that I asked? You will just start seeing topics right here. Topics right here. Okay. Yeah. Event management plan, different topics, right? So typically apply that same analogy right here in Salesforce. So in Salesforce, typically, you will deal with the org data, isn't it? So for answering any general CRM questions, everything, Salesforce has already created some built-in knowledge and actions. Okay, if I go to one particular topic, Salesforce has created some standard actions. Okay, so we'll talk about this a bit later. All these actions are available. Okay, how does this help? Let me ask this question to this. I can test this. Okay, this is the canvas wherein I can able to configure the topics actions. If I wanted to reconfigure, I can do that. But I'll go with the default one and then see. Okay, yeah. So you have the topics. Let's say, can you help me summarize Genie Point customer? Let's see what's going to happen. So this is a question that I asked, correct, to the agent, just like who won the trophy in 2015. So it's thinking behind the scenes, the Atlas reasoning engine is doing the job. It's trying to understand my intern, and then and then it's giving me. It appears matching records for Genie. There is no entry. Oh, looks like there are no records with the name Genie. Okay, can I fix something that's I'll take this employment add-on. Just ask this. Expert. I'll go back here. Okay. Please summarize. See, this is the action, right? Just book a ticket, or tell me which team won this, correct? Yeah. So I'll also do this. Expert. Now let's see whether it's able to figure out it's a opportunity or not. Let's see. See, it says that multiple records found. I didn't do anything. So these are inbuilt capabilities that Salesforce, that Salesforce has. So I can choose either account or opportunity. I didn't do anything on the left, based on the question that I asked, right? This is the prompt that I had given, correct? So behind the scenes, the brain, the Atlas reasoning engine, correct? It did use this topic called single record summary. I have two topics I had shown you, general CRM and single record summary. So it did choose single record summary, and there are a lot of instructions written, yeah, and there are a lot of actions as well. Querying records, summarize. As a human, just by looking at it, we know that I'm asking about summarizing a record, that this has to be chosen. But as a software program, the Atlas Reasoning Engine did help the agent to choose the right to choose the right action. But to summarize a record, what it needs is, right, it needs the ID, isn't it? Yeah. First, let's submit and see what happens. So it's going to find the right ID for this opportunity, and then it will make a call to this DB, basically a SOQL query, and then bring the data, send it to the LLM, and then finally the LLM is giving you this nice summary. This is the output. Okay. On the left, you will just see how this is executed. Okay. So this is if you just map this against our analogy. Okay. For every question that I asked, a respective topic is chosen. Okay, a respective topic is chosen, and then it will pick up the right action. Okay, and give away the response. Let me try this. Can you check the status? Or rather, I'll just say um, which cases are open. Let's see. On the left, you will just see I asked a question. It's going to pick up the topic. Let's see what's going to happen. Doing research. Basically, the Atlas reasoning engine is at work. You can just see that this is the question that I asked, and this time it did choose general CRM because this is the topic which has this action, action of finding the records or querying the records. You can just see this, right? Okay. So, just like how our human brain thinks, Salesforce agents, will also work the same way. The program works the same way. So at the end of the day, you need the key components are the topics and actions. That's a very important thing. So Salesforce, when they enable this internal agent, okay, they came up with this topics, general CRM and single record summary, and it is actually showing you the output. Yeah, makes sense. So very quickly, I'm going to make a little tweak right here because I have a business scenario too. to work on, isn't it? Yeah. So let me go right here. So can I ask this AI whether it has a capability to add a lead? Yeah, create a lead. Let's try this just to test this. Okay. Can you create a lead for me? Okay. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay. It's asking few details. However, I can help you with other tasks related, but I'm unable to create a lead. Yeah. So when I ask you book my show, when I ask you to book a ticket, right? It's not like you have the tickets in your hand, isn't it? Yeah. You have to take an action. Like you have to go to the book my show portal or the PVR cinemas, etc. to book the ticket. That's an action that you take, correct? Just like that. Just like that. Right now, the AI is lacking that capability. And typically this happens whenever you build this AI use cases, right, in your project. Okay, when you build the pro when you build a particular business use case using AI, okay, so you will get into situations like this because not everything can be accomplished with the standard topics and standard actions. It's not possible. Okay, so you have to give or add this new capability to the AI. Okay, how do we do that? How do we do that? Because right now it has no capability to insert a link. Okay, so I'm going to give that capability to my what do you call to my yeah. So to my AI so that the lead can be created very quickly right from here. So how do I do it? Very, very, very simple. All we have to do is, so how do you typically create a lead? So we typically create a lead either by using Apex code, correct, or page, right? But if I have to do it in an automated way, as in if I use the platform functionalities to create a lead, right? So I can either use Flow or I can use Apex code to do that job for me, correct? Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a flow, okay, which will look something like this. Um, in interest of time, I'll show you very quickly. We will be doing yeah, we'll be doing more such use cases in the upcoming session. But this one is so simple. I'll just show you right away. So to build this, what I'm going to do is, okay, I'll be creating a flow. So this is where you and I are coming into the play. Okay, because we see that the AI is lacking some capability, correct? So which we wanted to fix it, correct? We're using Flow or Apex. We'll build the logic, anything around, you can use Flow or Apex. So we'll do that. If I go right here to the setup. So this is the first thing that I do. I build the capability either using Flow or Apex or REST API, prompt template, all are supported. So you will be tested. How do you enhance the custom? How do you enhance the custom actions? How do you enhance the AI with custom actions? What kind of components that you use? Flow, Apex, APIs, or prompt templates. Prompt template we can use it as well. Yeah. So I think I will have, yeah, create a lead. Very, very, very simple. It can be an auto launch flow or template triggered flow. Let's quickly see that. So this is so simple, right? So it's going to create a lead. It's going to take some inputs, company name, email, everything. Okay. As you can just see. So basically, these are some variables. That's all it is. You create some variables, as you can just see. Yeah. These are simple variables, lead company name, etc. And then your market is available for input. That's it. Okay. Which means this flow, if I pass on this information to this flow, it will simply create a record and sends a message back to the agent. So this one I'll explain in the next session. What is this particular component or element? Okay. The point is I have a flow which is simply going to insert a lead, correct? But how do I tie this back to the agent as a capability, right? What I'm going to do is if I go back right here to the agent, okay, and this is where you have to spend a little extra time. Okay, yeah. So I'll go to Agentforce agents, Agentforce default. Yeah, they're all good. Right. Okay, all I have to do is maybe I'll deactivate this for now. Okay. I just have to go right here and then say I want to create a new topic because the agent does not have a capability to add a new new lead, right? So I'll just say I'll create a new topic called lead management. It could be anything, not just creating a lead. I can able to enhance this to update a lead, or I can able to enhance this to add this lead to a campaign, or run some statistics around the lead. So anything around this. Okay, yeah. I'll say lead management is a new topic to manage leads actions like create, update, uh, update or um, reports, etc. Okay. So now when I click on next, what happens is it will ask me to add instructions. You can just see that there are pre-populated instructions which you can just see. So the point is, for agents to work, okay, we need to guide, correct, the agent. And how do we do that? Very simple, plain and simple English. That's exactly what I'm doing right here. Okay. So we'll be creating description. Okay. We'll be giving a scope to the agent. We will have the instructions. And this is super important. These instructions are super important because super important as in, this is going to guide the agents, to pick up this right topic and right actions to execute. Okay. So there is one already created. I'll show you lead management. Okay, so as you can just see, this one is a description about the agent. Okay, and the scope is to help users with creating a lead, sending email, all such things, deriving intelligence, etc. Okay, so and these are the instructions. Okay, I'm telling agent that hey, if you are not clear about what user is asking, just ask the user to repeat. Okay, yeah, and use this topic whenever there is anything related to the lead. If it's about the customer or opportunity, don't go and then choose this topic. Okay. I'll try to be as detailed as possible and as simple as possible. Okay. Yeah. Not saying that whenever user wants to, create a lead, get all the details, email address, and last name, everything. And everything goes in the form of instructions. That's an important thing. Instructions are so important whenever you build the agent. Once this is done, okay, this is done. You go to the actions. You have an option to create a new action. So this is where, as I said, right, you can use flow, Apex, API, prompt template, etc. So I'll choose this flow. Next, sorry, let me just choose the flow. I think I've already done that. So create a lead. That's it. The flow that I created is appearing right here. So just say next. That's it. Okay. Once you click on next, it gets added right here. That's it. Okay. Yeah. I've done that already, but it's so simple. Just to click on next, it gets added. So just click here. You will see all the input parameters that were exposed. V underscore last name, V underscore first name, etc. Okay. Yeah. That's just mark whichever inputs are mandatory. Yeah. That's it. You are done. Okay. Once this is configured and then activated, okay, we're all good to go. Before I activate, I'm going to test this. Yeah. I'll close this one. I'll just say, can you, um, I'll just say um, let's say, Ava, Ava Thomas in a marketing event. Can you set up a lead? Okay. So I can follow up. Let's see what's going to happen. So previously it didn't have the capability. Now I'm just asking, a question. Now it's just, picked up the right topic, isn't it? So of all the topics that you have, all the topics that you have, yeah, it didn't pick up the right topic. Why? Because the instructions are clear. Yeah. So now it's asking, email address, etc. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, I'll just say eva.thomas at xyz.com. Yeah, and what is this needed? Um, company is no XYZ. Now let's see what's going to happen. Okay, looks like it did create. It didn't ask for any other questions, right? This is the lead creator and this is the lead ID. Let's see. And if you look at this, how it was executed, you can just see, this was the input and, this is the topic selected, lead management and the action of all the actions it did pick up the created lead, right? Because everything is done through the instructions, isn't it? So once it is activated, it's ready to use. And as an end user, how do they use it? As simple as launching this from the home page. This is the one. Click here. I can do the same thing. I'll just say create a lead, create a lead to follow. So I didn't give any inputs, right? Now let's see, it's asking, can you give me first name and last name? I'll just say button. Shit. Okay. Yeah. And continuous, yeah. Let's see what's going to happen. Of course, email address is missing. Okay. I'll just say ps at software.com. Now it should create a lead for me. Let's wait for this. Lead. Perfect. So copy this. Let's see whether it is created or not. It did create a lead for me. Yeah. So this is about how you add a capability, to the agent. Okay. So the point before we wrap up, okay, the key things to remember, right? It's about how you work with agents, right? So what you have seen today is an internal agent, and agents comes with pre-built topics, pre-built actions. These are nothing but how as a human we think, correct? Different, different topics, correct? Different topics and the actions that we do, like booking a ticket or doing a search in the Google, all such things, correct? So the point is, just like how humans think, we wanted to replicate that in a software program. So you have these agents. So technically, agents will have topics and actions. So Salesforce has given you some standard topics and standard actions, but that may not be enough. So we have to further build and customize. So the custom actions get into the play. We have seen one example where we did build a flow to introduce this custom action, and we created a topic. We mapped that action, and the topic, and we gave clear instructions to make it work. That's super important. Okay. Yeah. Once that is done, we put that in testing and then it started working. Right? So that's pretty much, what we do in the agent setup. Okay. So this is exactly what we built today. Yeah. So before it didn't have the capability. Now after we made the changes and added the custom action, it started working. Okay. So probably in the next session we will talk about other concepts, other cases, use cases where you can take this to the next level. Okay. So before we wrap up, I wanted to do a simple knowledge check, which we have just completed. Okay. Um, Take 20 seconds of your time, just recall the concept, recall the demo that you had seen, and then pick up the right answer, followed by I'll take questions from you. Okay, I see D, D, C. Okay, it's between C and D, is it? Okay, good. Let's see. I'll tell you what is the clue whenever you run into this kind of scenarios. Okay, yeah. So you have a custom agent action. Whatever we just built is a custom action. Creating a lead, it's a custom. It was not there, isn't it? Yeah. To make it properly configured and working, what is needed? Of course, action triggers. There is nothing called action triggers. We have not seen that. Output types, maybe. Instruction, something we keep hearing it, correct? Yeah. So it's either between B and C, and I see C everybody. Most of the folks are going with C as an option. It's cool. Yes, yes. The right answer is C. Okay, because the point is whatever you build at the end of it, it's a software program. Okay, you have to help the program to walk in the right direction. Okay, yeah. So instructions are the only way. Like plain English, no syntax, nothing. Instructions are the only way to set the direction for the agents to think and then pick up the right action to execute. Okay, so it's it's neither triggers nor output types. The right answer is instructions. Focus on the instructions. That's the plain simple English. That's important. Yeah. Let's see the last one before we wrap up. Super simple, won't take much time. Which option is available for you to build this custom action? We just completed that. We just completed that. So it might be a trigger, flows, or secure. Okay, people started giving answers. Okay, BBB. Exactly, exactly. We just did that, correct? But what is it that you should remember? It is not just flow, if you remember, right? Flow, or you can use Apex, or API is supported, or prompt template. We build this prompt template at Flex template field generation. You can also use that template to create an action. That is also possible. So you will be tested around what possible ways you can able to create a custom agent action. Okay, not just flow, but there are other three options as well available for you: API, Apex, and prompt templates. Okay, so with that we come to the end of our so I'll take this one tomorrow in the next session. Okay, yeah. So the last slide for today is this: common questions that come to your mind. Okay, how many agents that I can have in the system in the org? Only one internal agent, which is what we have seen, Agent Force default. Okay, but for something to be used outside of Salesforce, you can create multiple agents: one in WhatsApp, one in Teams, one in website, one in the partner portal, one in the community portal. You can create multiple agents and have it deployed, okay, across various channels. That is supported. Okay, but this is not the end. So the next week we are taking this to the again next level, where and data cloud together. You'll just see. We'll talk about unstructured data. How do I deal with unstructured data? There is something called data library, which helps you to do a lot of things in the system. We'll talk about that, and also we'll create something, an agent to deploy outside of Salesforce. We'll do that. Besides that, we'll also touch base on the other concepts that you should be ready with before you appear for the certification, like Agentforce for sales and service, etc. Okay. So with that, I'm happy to take questions if there are any before we close the call.